Good morning. Welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. My name's Lorene. I'm going to do a little book chat today. I will be talking about books, but who knows what's going to come out of my mouth. So I have the house today alone, which is just, it's kind of fun. So the cat's asleep. It's afternoon, so it's not really good morning. It should be good afternoon. So we won't hear the 12 o'clock bird chiming away. We might get the 2 o'clock because I don't actually know what time it is. So I had fun this weekend in an unexpected way. I have this book, this bag, this is the dimensions of the bag, and it was filled with books to go to one of those little libraries, free libraries. And I also had another stack out in the storm porch that was meant to go to free libraries. So off Steve and I trotted, and that was great. We had a wonderful time getting rid of some books. And at one of the free lending libraries, I came across these two. So Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness, it's book one, and Discovery of Witches. Oh no, I'm wrong. Discovery of Witches comes first by Deborah Harkness, followed by Shadow of Night. And she is author of some other, I guess it's called the All Souls Trilogy. Anyways, I have no idea what's in it, but I liked the covers. So, and I thought, that might be fun in the winter when, things are just kind of slow and imagination's a little at a low point, and we'll just, get something that's a little bit magical, see what happens. I don't think there are any dragons, which is too bad. So that was not too bad. We came home with, we got rid of about 8 to 10 books, came back with 2. Not too bad. Then the next day we thought, okay, let's get rid of the rest. We're making a nice dent into the pile of books that we would like to share. And same bag. And we came back with this plus this, which was pretty much, I think I had a thing of cream in there. So that was the bag all filled up. So it was pretty hilarious. This is the Horatio Hornblower Complete Adventures. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4, and then there's 2 more. I don't know, because I don't follow this series. But anyway, so that's Steve's winter watching plan. And why he thought we needed it in this version, I don't know. And I don't think I've ever seen him read a Horatio Hornblower book. I think we might have watched one of the first episodes, but I found the violence a little bit too much and walked away, and he just let it go. Excuse me. So I guess it's just his oh my goodness. I guess it's his version of fantasy like mine is with the witches. Then there was this other selection. These are all by Alison Montclair. And The Right Sort of Man, A Royal Affair, A Rogue's Company, The Unkempt Woman, no, The Unkept Woman, and The Lady from Burma. So I guess I'm headed to some sort of murder lovey stuff. A Sparks and Bainbridge mystery. Yes, I think that's right. They're all mysteries of some sort. And so that was nice of the person. They tied it all together, and they said a little note here that says book 1. So someone out there who understands that when you grab a pile of books, you want to know which one is first. So that was, that was a bit of a joke that we came back with a bag as full as we left. And a little later in the day, we went to our local store, and there is a free library on the way. And I stuck my head in and picked up Winter House by Ben Gutterson. Illustrations by Chloe Bristol. And so this is a middle grade, and it's sort of sort of a mystery. There might be a bit of magic in it, but I think it's more along the lines of puzzle solving. Whoops. And yeah, so I think hopefully it'll be good. I liked the cover. The cover was part of why I liked it. And so that was our book shopping this week. Not that we really meant to do any book shopping. I do have some books that I wanted to talk about, but something's come up on BookTube that I thought, well, it'd been in my mind too, in a different way. There's some kind of a discussion. I'm not watching very much of it on the topic of booktubers that are leaving. And I think it started with Shelley Swearingen, that her hypothesis on why people would leave doing this adventure of YouTube's related to books. And it was very logical. It was very probable. And then, Shelley Swearingen has a huge readership, and a lot of her readers are people who do BookTube. So there's been a number of people out there who are discussing it in some format or another. I had not seen this video until last week. I think it only came out last week. But it had been on my mind because I have this book that whenever I'm watching BookTube, I usually keep track of book recommendations. And I would say that when I started this 5 years ago, it's coming up to 6 years. When I started this 5 years ago, by the end of any given 2-month period, I would have both sides of a page filled up. And there were so many people making excellent recommendations that I got into the habit of writing, let's just say, ink and paper. His name was Russell. And so I would write Russell, and then I would write the 3 or 4 books that he had recommended. And because sometimes I would, if I remembered, I would like to give credit for where I heard about the book in the first place. And, so that way, if you were interested in the book I was talking about, you could go and see what Russell was all about. Well, I think after about 2 years into it, the two of the main people that I watched went behind Patreon. And so their videos were more about, come see me on Patreon. We're going to be talking about this. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. First of all, I can't afford to do Patreon for every booktuber that I watch. And second of all, I came here because it was about a book discussion. It wasn't about providing, okay, so bitchy comment coming. It wasn't about helping you make a living, because I don't make a living off this. It didn't occur to me at that time that was actually a goal for people. And so I was a crabbatha about it and thought, I'm not paying for that. So where does that get me? Oh yeah, okay. My other crabbatha thought was, let's just take 3 booktubers. If I pay for Patreon, that's 4 or 5 books a year that I could be buying. So, that's me being very Dutch and bitchy. So anyways, I didn't go, and then a third person did the same thing. And so I was a little disappointed, because they were the first 3 booktubers that I really engaged with, really admired their content, took some inspiration in terms of organization and how I was going to focus things and so on. Things were okay for a little bit. And then in the last, I'm going to say about just a little bit over a year, I have noticed that several of the booktubers, the book channels that I watch, they've just ceased. Now, the one I was talking about, Russell, Ink and Paper blog, he told us that he was moving and that they were going to be getting a new house, and they've got their dogs, and it was a big move, a big job change, Didn't expect to hear from him for a while, and that was fine. People have lives, that's fine. But he was someone who gave me, I would say, about every second video he uploaded, I would come away with 2, sometimes 3 suggestions. So in follows at least 4 more that I can think of. And when I go through my list, you guys all have your own lists of who you're subscribed to, and I kind of would scroll down and think, oh, I haven't heard from them for a while, and haven't heard from them for a while, and then I would realize, oh, it's been 7 months. So I think that on my horizon, there's probably another 3 or 4 people that I enjoyed watching who haven't been posting for a while. And so therefore my recommendations to-do list has just dwindled to, I think I'm at 2/3 of a page for July, August, and September. And actually some of those come from the little magazine that I subscribe to, Hornbook, that has recommendations. It's like a book review geared to picture books, middle grade readers, and young adults. Plus it's connected to the American Library World, so you will get speeches from people who've won the Caldecott Award or what have you. So that's the other place where I get some recommendations, but that magazine can be a little uneven for me. Not every issue am I going to come away with something that I think, oh yeah, I really, really want to read that. So it's been on my mind thinking, gee, I feel like my reading has narrowed, that I don't have other people's brilliant ideas thinking, oh, I'll get that. Because a lot of them, people that I was watching, came from England. I think that's still true. I think the ones that are still up and running come from England, although at least 2 of them are no longer doing it. And I think the remainder are probably American. And the gals, yes, it's mostly gals at this point, are bringing British books that sometimes it takes me longer to get here because publications and all that kind of hoo-ha. So things have just narrowed down, and I was thinking to myself the other day about how heavily dependent my selections are on previous years. I'm catching up, so I've pretty much finished anything that was recommended to me in the first year that I was doing the vlogs. So what's that got to do with the price of a pie in the grocery store? I'm feeling a little bit, I don't want lonely, no. Unsupported, no. But underexcited, yeah. I think that might be it. A lot of the booktubers that I'm currently watching get very, very excited about the Booker Prize, which I just avoid. My gal Jolene out in Calgary from the Bookworm Adventure Girls, she really does like prizes, and she likes to pay attention to the Canadian prizes. So yeah, great. But it's the Giller Prize that I think is happening right around now. I'm a little behind on the videos for her. And that's also a prize that I don't tend to pay attention to. Sometimes what happens is I'll come across a book years later and think, oh, that sounds interesting. And I'll pick it up and then start reading and go, I bet this is a Giller Prize, and put it back down. So I guess the other part that hasn't really been going on for a little while is some of the people that used to watch in the early days have moved on, fair enough, but they would sometimes give recommendations, and so I'm missing that little piece as well. So where am I getting my ideas? I'm getting them from my old stuff. The bookstore that I frequent, is it called Bookmark? Yeah, I think it's called Bookmark in Halifax. They do a monthly newsletter, and so sometimes I'll pick up some ideas from them because they will not it's not always new releases. They will ask their staff, what's on your bedside table or what's in your book bag, and so we can get recommendations that are 5 years old or sometimes a classic or what have you, and so that can be quite inspiring. There's whenever I go into the bookstore, there's 2 of the salespeople that they have a little shelves that recommended by so and so, and so I go to so and so and see what they're recommending. And quite often I'll go, oh yeah, that does look like a good book. And where else? Not so much Steve. Steve's and my reading has diverged quite a bit in the last 6 to 8 years. He's reading more. He's reading more sailing, nautical kinds of books, or he's got a couple of mysteries series that he's paying more attention to now that he has a bit more time. And it used to be quite often that we would say, "Oh, I think you would really enjoy this book," and that just hasn't happened too much. Um, the other place that I get my inspiration from has historically been from the tables at the bookstores, and the bookstores that we do go to, have in the last year and a half, I would say, been um, more responsive to what's happening in the um, recent releases as opposed to interesting books, because they're not the same. And I miss that. Quite often, there would be a table, and it would have, um, the latest 5 new releases from Atlantic Canada, and a couple from across Canada, and then there'd be just some wacky doodle stuff that was really cool that they had read on their own, and everything just has become somewhat bland. Then there's the problem of, although these are independent bookstores, they have um, a certain kind of market that they're trying to appeal to. So there's a kind of sameness from bookstore to bookstore, which is why we like going to Lunenburg Bound twice a year. Not so much, that doesn't happen. He has one shelf that is new releases, and then fiction, and then new releases nonfiction. Um, and then on the other side, I think it's more new releases independent press that isn't just Atlantic Canada. I think it's independent presses from across. I'm sorry, it isn't just Atlantic independent presses, it's Canadian independent presses. So that's always good because I generally pick up a couple from there. But we're talking probably about, I don't know, 10, 12 books that's coming from the book displays. And I used to do a lot more shopping than that. I don't mind saving money, but I do like to patronize my booksellers because I want to support the book publishing industry. So, yikes. Um, yeah, I would be interested to know where you guys get your inspiration from. I read middle grade quite a bit, and let me just, Jack at Spread Book Joy in Britain, she quite often does middle grade books, and she's brought a few to my attention, but that's that whole England, Canada, is it available piece. Um, I like a dragon, and I like a good mystery. I like contemporary literature if no one's being eviscerated, it's not a navel gazing, completely boring memoir of some sort. I don't really know what I like in new release literature. It's a bit up and down, and then some of my favorite authors, of course, are coming to the end of their writing career. Thomas King, I think, has a new book coming out, but he's a gentleman of years. Helen Humphrey, my other great big Canadian favorite. I don't think she's coming to the end of her writing career, but I think she's slowed down a little bit. Richard Wagamasi has died. I'm not a great fan of Alice. What's her name? Is it Alice Munro? No, Atwood. Atwood. Mrs. Atwood. I do still like my classic Canadians, and I still do like classics, but on the classics side of things, I have read an awful lot. And I think those that what's his name now? Tristan. It's not coming to me. I can see it. He just did one. Tristan and the Classics, I think it's called. So he does a lot of the same classics over and over again because he's got a very strong oh, what do you call, oh my God. His belief, his very strong belief, is that the traditional classics are completely relevant today because they're about mankind and humankind, the human condition, the human interactions, relationships, love, hate, war, all those kinds of things. That in the classics you will find the things that you would want to know if you're really into those topics. And he does come into contemporary books as well, but his heart is in the classics. But I have pretty much read everything that he's recommended, or I've tried it and said, no, not for me. That's a problem with being an old lady. I have been reading since I was 5. I did not read the classics when I was 5, but I have been reading voraciously since, and that's 60 years of books. And I would, let's just be bold and say I've probably read something like 6,000 books in my life so far, of varying sizes and dimensions and comics, and you don't forget about Betty and Veronica. So yeah, I have read an awful lot, and in both fiction and nonfiction. I tend to not read nonfiction because I'm more plot driven, and I got that pile where I can't finger that pile right there. That's nonfiction that hasn't budged for a year. And then there's some on the steps that Steve has that are nonfiction that I also said, oh, I'd like to read that. You know what? That's actually the one area where we do say to each other, I think you would like this. I think it's more in the nonfiction realm. Well, I don't think I have too much else to say about that sort of thing today. I mostly just wanted to, chat and kind of bemoan the loss of certain YouTubers that were near and dear to my heart. Maybe instead of book recommendations, you could suggest me booktube channels that you enjoy. Oh, because two of the people that have no longer have a presence would once a year do a roundup of booktube people that they were watching that were under 100. Yes, under 100 subscribers. So that was fun to go and see who were new subscribers. And I think that both of them also would do it if the booktubers were at about a 500 point in their subscription list. So it's fun to go to people who are new to things, and just, see what's cooking there. The people that have got, 42,000 subscribers. I don't know how many Shelley Swearingen has, but she has a lot. She has a lot. And she's good. She is good. I will say that. I don't want to take anything away from her, but she's too good. She makes me feel like such a klutz, because she actually gets her makeup on and, things like that. She has eyeshadow that glitters. I have dust motes that glitter. So now, if you are watching this with an intention to start your own channel, Gina, is it Gina Reads? She has got a video that's just come out on how to do the lazy version of your own YouTube. As she inspired me a while ago. She doesn't script anything. I don't script anything. I only edit it out if there's sneezing or coughing or the phone rings. I mean, there's virtually no editing that's going on here. Sometimes I will edit to the point where I will add something in if I've made a great big mistake, but that's, even those I'll forgive myself for. So Gina has got a really lovely way of describing how to start your own YouTube channel, if that's what you would like to do. And I think she nails that. She nails it. And my approach is just enjoy yourself. Talk about the books that you really like. I don't bring forward books that I really dislike unless I thought I would like them and I've mentioned them to you. I will follow up. But if in the course of reading things I come across something I don't like, I don't talk about it. I will go a little bit crazy on if it's a 5-star book, I will spend a bit more time than I would otherwise. So that's about all I have in the way of rules. I did spend some money on lighting, uh, just your basic sort of circle light thing that I use in the winter. I don't use it in the summer. And I did spend a bit of time trying to make a little corner, um, and discovered, oh my goodness, now that the kitchen is starting to slowly come back together because many things happened in the kitchen over the summer, I discovered that shelf there that's making me have a nice little space here belongs in the kitchen. It's where the cookbooks used to go. I hate cookbooks. And so, because cookbooks mean there's an expectation of actually cooking, which I detest. And so I was quite happy when the cookbooks left the kitchen, but they are now taking up space upstairs where the fiction goes. So Steve's saying to me, we need to bring the cookbooks back. And I'm saying, we could get rid of the cookbooks. No, we need those cookbooks. Each cookbook that's about this big has one recipe in it, and I'm suggesting, why don't we Xerox it and make another binder of so and so. No, that might take another year or two to win that argument. So anyhow, I don't know why I went down that road. Oh, because just making it simple. Sometimes I bring a plant out. Sometimes I bring in a different kind of a decoration. Sometimes there's a big pile of books. Sometimes it's empty. Sometimes I drink tea. Sometimes I choke on the tea. There's lots of options. Well, that's it for today. It's been a long ramble. I hope all your reading dreams and adventures come true, and that the places where you are getting recommendations continue to be solid. Bye-bye for now.